Michael stands up 3, the head of the Serpent Collector. Welcome back, family. Stellarium. We're looking at the Comet A3 Atlas. On our last video of Michael Stands Up 2, we broke down this comet and the path of this comet through the womb of Virgo and through Ophiuchus and through Aquila the Eagle, and we watched its path maneuver around and make a very specific pattern, and then it ends up in 2030 aligning with Ras al-Hag. So what we're going to do quickly is we're going to go back, we're going to revisit these points. In the last video we didn't do any details because there was so much to break down. What I'm doing in this one is we're going to give you some basic information about these alignments that we just showed. We didn't really discuss them. And then we're going to move forward into the spring of 2031, and then we're going to take a step back to 2027 in the next video. I wanted to make sure that I continued with the signs that I'm working on, and in order to do that I have to put off the 2027 signs. We're going to show you at the very end of the video the very beginning of the 2027 signs, and then that'll lead us into all of the signs in 2027. And it's going to be important for us to be able to track these days. And I'm not going off of any calendars. All I'm doing is I'm going to show you how these star dates are connected via scripture to the Revelation and the Daniel and all the other codes that are in the scriptures. And in order to do that, I need to go through everything as a story, and we need to be able to show you how this is aligning with the biblical tale. So first we're going to start here. We already went and detailed the comet's beginnings. It started essentially at the shoulder of Ophiuchus here, and you can see this location where it started is directly between Serpent, Ophiuchus, and Hercules, and this is where this beginning started, and it moved its way towards the head of Serpens, and as it moved towards the head of Serpents, it began to do some loops. And when I noticed this pattern is when I began to feel like, oh, wait a minute, what this comet could be doing, what I in my heart felt was the binding of the serpent. This could be a sign in the heavens of the scriptures coming to life. And so I continued to watch the path, and sure enough, it just kept doing loops around the neck of the serpent. And then, as I showed in the last video, it made a beeline through the womb of Virgo. It went over to sextants, which is a directional tool, back through the womb, back through the serpent, back through Michael, which is represented to us by the constellation of Ophiuchus. Then it went through the eagle, and what we're looking at here, we're going to go ahead and begin again tracking right here. We're looking at the date 11/22, and we're looking at the comet aligning with the tail of Serpent. And we've already gone through the alignments of Aquila, and if you go back in my video logs and you continue to watch, if whatever videos you have not seen between binding the serpent and where we at today, then it's best to go back whatever time you have to try to catch up in the signs. And I've done a lot of work detailing this constellation Aquila, and I don't want to have to go back and revisit all of that work. And that's all within the past videos. So please visit uh, my log of videos and do what you can to catch up if you're a new subscriber and you haven't seen those. So what we're looking at here is another sign of Michael and the serpent. And so what I want to do now is I want to just move forward. Again, we already detailed this pattern. What we're going to do is we're going to stop on some specific points, and we're going to get into a little bit more of some details, and then we're going to quickly move through this and show you how this pattern is showing us something that is connected to what we're about to see on March the 14th. So let's go ahead and just pay attention to this pattern, and I want you to take the time to settle in your hearts that what we're seeing in the heavens is a seed war between the serpent and the seed of the woman, and Michael the Archangel, represented in multiple ways in the Mazzaroth, with especially Ophiuchus, is a protector of the people of Messiah. And that means the brides and everything. And so it's important to understand that just as we in our world, we have protectors, we have uh, people who are overseers of others that are protecting others. We have this same uh, thing magnified in the heavens, where we have very specific angels, and their job is to act in a way of protection. And that's the Archangel Michael. He's given a very specific task. He's the one who goes to war. He's the warrior angel that goes against the evil serpent. So now what we're going to do is we're going to just move forward quickly. We're going to watch this pattern, and we're going to center here on the comet, and we're going to watch these days. We've already showed you all the signs of an Aquila, and we already went and the last time we showed you this path. This time, instead of by the months, I'm doing it by the days, and I just want you to pay attention to this. Again, we're here at this Cygnus alignment. I pointed it out in the last video that there is a strong connection to Cygnus and what they're looking at as a star code. And they believe, from the information I've dug up, that this star code presented on the vulture stone is showing us end of the world type of scenario, where where they were predicting the coming catastrophe of the world again. And this was because they were masters of, of the heavens, and they were able to do what we can do today. It's hard for a lot of people to understand that, but that's because we believe the historians who have lied to us about the history of mankind. In the Enuma Elish and the Lost Book of Enki and all of the Sumerian documents, the Ark of Noah, or Utnapishtim, was a genetics laboratory, family. We're not talking about Noah going around and collecting a bunch of animals to bring on the ark, although they did that. Well, the real details of the story are much deeper and they are much grander, and we're talking about a boat that was a genetics factory. And they had the ability to do things that we cannot duplicate today. And Göbekli Tepe was a star fortress. It was where all of the spiritual people from all over the planet went to study the stars. And this is where they made all of their star logs and star predictions. And they believe that Göbekli Tepe is predicting the end of the cycle in 2036. And they believe that they have found the exact codes on the vulture stone, and now they've found more evidence on other of the T pillars, and there are other locations around Turkey that you would call the cradle of civilization before things were moved to lower Mesopotamia. This is what they would call upper Mesopotamia, the upper valleys in the upper region, and some connect that with the Great Flood and Noah's Ark and Ararat, and you can do, if you start looking into Göbekli Tepe, as I have, and I've done a lot of research on the connections to the stars with this place. And I believe that the sons of Noah found this after the flood. And there's some people out. I posted a video about Gobleki Tepe. This man believes that they're presenting Noah's Ark and other things that I don't believe in, but I do. I do believe in a lot of the stuff that he was presenting. I don't agree with his uh, assumptions about Noah's Ark, and that being the depiction of what is shown at the top of the vulture stone. I've been doing this kind of research on archaeoastronomy and astrotheology and the connections of all of these ancient religions. And really, they're all star religions. And what they've done is they've turned the Maseroth and all of these things into gods, which was never meant for this, as Christ said, and we have more codes in the Bible that say the signs are going to be in the sun and the moon and the stars, and that these things are all for signs. And so, if we're going to be looking for signs in the end times, then we need to be looking up into the heavens. This is the ancient Bible in the stars, thousands and thousands of years older than any written words, and continues day by day and hour by hour to witness to us. And this location here is a very important alignment. Well, we already did this in the last video, but we're going to go ahead and just get this alignment up so we can show you this alignment, because it's important to really look at the details of the days, where these things are aligning, and how all these things might fit into a star matrix code that allows us to work our numbers on the 1260, the 1290, and the 1335, the 3.5 year codes, and all of those things that are associated with Daniel. There are many amazing Bible scholars and decoders of these things that have made a lot of predictions over time. There's been hundreds of men who, throughout history, have made false predictions about the tribulation and the rapture. And most of the people who have made false predictions are looking into the stars. I have believed in my own heart many times that we were right there waiting for him to come, and the stars were screaming at us. And I've learned my lesson over the years that it's better for us as a body to continue to watch the signs and wait for these signs to witness to us. There has not really been enough Mazzaroth information out there that has spread to the larger body of Messiah. I believe that the dogmatic beliefs of the church have really caused a stifling of the heavenly truths, because there's some out there, they just want to just focus on the Bible. And from my perspective, that's it's like trying to stay in first grade. And there's so much beyond the Bible that's connected to the Bible, like the Bible codes and all of these numerical codes, like the phi angle and the golden ratios and pi. These are all fingerprints of creation, family. Everything is vibration and wave patterns. When they do, that's why all the modern physicists are now, they believe in a creator. When have you ever heard in all of history where scientists actually believe and promote a creator? That's not happened. They've all been in denial. They've all been promoting uh, Darwinism and all of the ideas of Darwinism. But all of the modern quantum physicists, all of them, hands down, bar none, all of these quantum physicists all believe in a creator. They all believe that we're being lied to about history. They all believe that we are not even able to find a physical structure through these electron microscopes. The farther they look and the more they get into there's nothing there It's all wave patterns and wave signatures. And so there is no, this is all projected reality, and we're looking at the stars as the story of it's his story in the stars. And so what I'm trying to do is explain this as a grand story that continues day by day, and all we have to do is look up. And if we use a computer, there's all kinds of tools online for all of us to just jump online and begin to learn how to use these tools to begin the hunt. Get excited about what the Creator has placed in the heavens. This story is grand. Anybody who tells you that the devil made all of this in the heavens is a liar, because no ruler creates a tale or a story of his own demise, of his own destruction. And that's the entire Mazzaroth is a giant story of a battle between the forces of good and the forces of evil, and every single house is showing. You can look to the right, look at the foot of Hercules on Draco, look at Michael, Ophiuchus. He's got the serpent held. Look at Hercules. The serpent goddess has been decapitated. These are all signs in the heaven of the victory of the Lamb over all things. And so this Cygnus sign is vital for us to see that there is a possible pattern of a 2036 end. And as I began to dig into the codes of Jacob, I'm going to present this now. This is a video for later. It's going to come within the next couple weeks, but I'm just going to present this quickly now. In the codes of Jacob, I found a pattern of 20 years, where you have the 7 years for Leah, the 7 years for Rachel, and the 6 years for the livestock. And I believe I have been able to connect that with 2036. So that's for another video, but this is all going to help us see that Cygnus is now being marked, and we're seeing that marking happen on June the 7th, 2025, and it gets marked again, and we're going to show you that. But let's go ahead and move forward. We're doing the day count just so you can see the pattern. So last time we did the month count and it didn't really show the pattern as well. What I'm doing right now, it takes a little bit of more time, but this is very important, family. I want you to watch these patterns. Okay, coming up here, we're going to see a mark that is made here on the wing of Aquila. The last time we just pointed it out. We didn't really get into the deets. This is actually pointing out the wing of Aquila. It's a a sign of flight. And if we do our due diligence on this pattern, it to me looked like a moving pi sign that once it gets to this region, it actually starts earlier, but once we get to this region, it begins to do these loops, and it just continues to move through this loop pattern, and it's as if it's marking again a space in heaven. And we're just going to go ahead and let it move forward. The last time we did this by the months, it doesn't really show a clear pattern. Let's go ahead and keep going. And I know this takes some time, but if you look at the pattern, it keeps making these circles. And we're just going to let it run through the years, and you can see how this pattern develops. Last time we went by the months, and it doesn't really show you what I want to present. And we're going to be coming back to look at all the planetary signs, but we have to finish the understanding of this comet. I believe it's one of the most important signs involved in all of the tribulation signs, and that means those are going to be connections to the day counts. So let's continue to run forward. The loops just begin to tighten up, similar to what happened at the neck of the serpent. If you go watch my first video, if you haven't seen Michael Stands Up 1 and 2, please, fam, go back and watch those first. And we're going to be running forward into a very specific day. Just keep your eyes on this movement. Again, as I've said, it's just doing loops right over the head of Ophiuchus, which this is again pointing out. This is pointing out Michael, fam. And we're going to go ahead and get this up on Meridian. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at this. This is a very important alignment here. We're looking at the alignment of the comet just outside. See, has not made its alignment with the star. It's marking this location in heaven, which again is the head of Michael. And into some stuff really quick when we make the next pass, but we've already seen this pattern. Now we're looking at 1111, and now we're going to move forward. This is 2029, and it hasn't quite made its alignment with this Ras Al Hog. We want to make sure we continue to watch this pattern. Again, now we're making smaller loops, and it has as if it's focusing in. And you really couldn't see that when you're looking at the month track, but now let's look directly. Now we're here on Meridian. We're back at the same place, 1111, and we're looking at 2030. Now we're going to get the alignment with the star, which again we've already presented this alignment, and it's essentially happening right here and we can get in here and you can see that it's within the nebula, and it's aligned with Ras Al Hog, and it's now in the nebula of the head of Michael. So first, the details that we didn't get into in part 2 are that Alpha Ophiuchus, which is the head star, it's called the head of the Serpent collector. And Ophiuchus is the 11th largest constellation. And when you look at the spiral that this thing has made, again, it reminds me of the golden ratio and pi and the phi angle and all of the mathematics that has now been shown to be part of the patterns of creation. It's also involved in all music, and there are many modern physicists who have presented a code with the language of the Bible, and they don't believe that that in the first words where it says that God spoke, they actually believe that the root word better fits with the word sang, as in a song, as in everything in creation is a song pattern, a wave like music. And when I learned that, it was incredibly beautiful. It helped me in my journey of discovering all of these mathematical codes, the Bible codes, and more. But this is a very important place in the heavens. This Alpha Ophiuchus, it spins, family, at 88% of breakup speed. I'm going to say that again. This alpha star in Ophiuchus spins at 88% of breakup. And it borders directly, this constellation is facing Hercules. And Hercules is also, again, a representation of the battle in heaven over the serpent. And you can also look as he looks past Hercules, his eye is on the crown, and if you go beyond it, the story just continues, because Boötes is the harvester. He has the sickle, and he has the spear, and this is a sign of the destiny. It's also a war sign. It's all connected to Michael, and it's also connected to Christ. But if you look at who you have, Hercules with his foot on the head of Draco, you have Boötes that has his sickle and his sword pointed directly at Draco. These are all stories in the heavens that are showing us the war of the Archangel and of Christ against the Serpent and his army, which we know is only 1/3 of the host, and that doesn't necessarily mean 1/3 of the heavens. I don't believe that 1/3 of the angels. There are different angels with different jobs, and uh, I believe that Satan, Gadriel, only had a very specific um, group of angels underneath him. He didn't control 1/3 of heaven, and those were the ones that fell. And I do not believe that it's 1/3 of heaven. I believe that it is a much smaller number than that, and they have confused that in history to make the enemy of the creator something that it's not. And so we're looking at here a very, very special sign in 2030. We're going to go ahead and move forward, and let's watch this pattern. The last time we didn't move forward. I want you to watch this pattern. We're going to move forward. This is now staying in the head. If you look at the location of this comet now, fam, it is staying in the head, and now it is coming back, and it is going to now go into the bone. Let's look at this again, and let's back it up, and we're looking at okay, fam, here we are. We're looking at the alignment of Comet A3 Atlas. Now it's entering into essentially the Hoopa. And again, if you've been following me, you know that this whole section of the body of Michael is also called the Hoopa, or the marriage chamber. It extends down through his legs into the constellation of Scorpius on one side, and then into the Golden Gate on the other side. Essentially, he's stepping into the dark rift, and that is I could do an entire video just on that sign. And you can also see the end part of the body of Serpents is in the dark rift. Excuse me, fam. So, what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be taking a step back, and I want to show you something that I missed in 2030. It's really important to, okay, we've got to get this up. Okay, we're in the nebula, and what I want everybody to pay attention to is I want everybody to please, if you've been following me for a while, look at this sign. This is the head of the Serpent Collector 2030. You have Mercury, who is exiting the Hoopa. You have the Sun that is entering the Hoopa. You have Jupiter inside the Hoopa. You have the Moon inside. And you have, I believe that should be Venus. It is. I mean, look at this, fam. I mean, you have you have right here, you have the occultation. There it is. This is the occultation of Venus by the Moon. Look at this sign, fam. This is a very, very important sign. It codes that I found, and I wanted to make sure that I showed that before we got too deep in moving forward. So, again, look at the alignment and look at what's in the house. And you can't make these things up. This is a perfect, it's perfect because the sun has to basically pass Acrab, and its Mercury is just coming out of the Hoopa as the sun is just going in. This is a marriage. It is also a sign of us all being in the Hoopa, or the marriage chamber, and this is going to come into the connections with the 1290 and the 1335. So I want you to pay attention. If you need to screen grab this, if you need to do whatever you've got to do, this is going to be important because we need to be able to warn those that are going to go through tribulation. We need to give them hope of the things that they need to look for. And we can put those dates now, and we can give them all the things that they need, even if they don't believe them now.
there's going to come a time very soon where all these things are going to be open to them before they put the lockdown. I believe that it will happen in the fall of 2025. I believe that we're going to have the escape of the bride, and then we are going to have a period of quiet, not necessarily quiet on a war scene or political scene, but as far as the judgments and all of the really severe things that are going to manifest, it's going to continue to be somewhat dull compared to what is going to begin in the fall of 2025. So this is a very important sign. It needed to be detailed, and we're looking at the head of the serpent collector, and Michael is the archangel given the job for the war against the evil serpents in heaven. And now what we're going to do is we're going to give me 1 second. I have all these things pulled up. We're going to show you a important. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take a step back. We're going to be looking at the planet Mars. And again, as I've told you, I believe that Mars is a representation of Michael. And if we look here on the same exact day of that alignment, fam, you have Mars coming into alignment uh, with the Virgin, and this is another sign of protection. And so here we are. We can see all this entire lineup in heaven, and you can see that where this story is happening. And Mars is the only one. I mean, we can look around and see that everything other than Saturn and Uranus, which we can even go into detail into that, but that's for another video. There's too much going on. We got Mars here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at Mars in 2027, and we're just going to begin the signs in 2027. We're going to show you this sign here, and this is a very, very important sign. Again, we're looking at Mars as Michael the Archangel, and we see the planet Mars aligning with Regulus and the heart of the lion, and we can see that the moon is right there. And if we look, we can see, let's just back out really quick. We can see Hebe is there. I didn't pull up the codes for Hebe because there's other things that are going on in this. I believe there was one more, but I'm not going to get to the asteroids. There's just too much going on. But if you look at this alignment, fam, you have You have Leo, and in the house is Jupiter, which would be the ruling planet, which Jupiter is associated with Leo. And now you have Mars, which now we consider, uh, we're looking at Mars as Michael the Archangel. And we have the moon, which is essentially between the paws of the lion. And this is also the lion's gate. And we're looking at a very, very important sign in the heavens. We're looking at 2027, May the 13th. And the reason I'm showing you this is we're going to be we're going to be moving through the heavenly signs, and we're leading into the entire story, and we're going to be leading into how these day counts work. And it's very important to establish all of the evidence. We're looking at very important alignments in the heavens, and it's important to be able to see these signs going all the way out. And I would, even if I were you, I would suggest saving these videos, all of the Michael Stands Up series, I would save to your computer for in a file with the the Daniel and the Revelation scriptures that are pointing to this for the tribulation, because we need the people who are going to be left behind to be able to access all of this data. They're going to need to see this information before it's too late. And the only way we're going to be able to do that, family, is we have to have that ready for them. And that means a lot of us are focused on the escape of the bride, the rapture. We feel like we're being tortured in this place, and so we just want to get out. But that's not doing our job. Our job is to wake people up and warn people about what's coming. And in order to finish the job strong, we need to realize that there's going to be a lot of people who are left. They just aren't going to get the message in time. They're not awake, and this could potentially be the greatest revival in all of history, because it's going to snap people out of their dream state and out of the possible uh, uh, false reality that they're in with this modern digital age. And so we need to have these things in order for people to see them. So this is where I'm going to leave you off with this last sign in 2027, May the 13th. Now, I think you all know what the next day is and how important the representation of that is. So we're going to leave you here. I'm going to be coming back in the next video, and we're going to break down all the signs associated with the day counts of 2027. Much love, fam.